Right, hello there, everyone. Welcome back to James Redman TV, and welcome to another Redman Roundup. And these are going to be the new Redman Roundups going forward, so I hope you'd enjoy. Smash a like, subscribe, and all that juicy stuff. And it turns out that even after all the debacle, there's still FSG defenders or FSG blameless supporters. And I just think that when you blindly support that ownership, I mean, that's fine, because we're all entitled to opinions. I just think it's a big, big shame when you put the majority blame onto other things when you break it down, it's not even close. So I want to read a tweet from... Let me share the screen for you guys so you understand what I'm saying, because, yeah, there's a lot to talk about in this one. Now, I want to clarify. I like this dude. His name's Josh LFC 1909. Don't know who he is. Don't know his face. Don't know if he even shows his face or if anyone's ever heard his voice. But I keep up to date with a lot of his tweets. He shares and quotes a lot of journalists who come out and report on Liverpool. And he also gives his opinion on it sometimes. He's got a very good page on Twitter. Great. And I follow him, so I'm sure he's doing a great job. Now, he put out this tweet that you can see on the screen. I just thought it was a very, very dumb tweet, a very, very stupid tweet from somebody who would support FSG blindly. And I understand maybe he genuinely believes this, or he's trying to be different. Sometimes on YouTube, I try and be different. I'm thinking outside the box. How can it be a bit more thought-provoking? It's something that when you're an entertainer on any platform, you can do. But I always try and let honesty supersede any controversial or hot takes that sometimes I like to go at. And you know, when I go on a different channel, if I'm on a Man United fans channel, I'm going to poo on Man United. It's good to make it controversial, you know what I mean? It's good to make it exciting for the viewership. And same if I go on a Chelsea fans channel, but overall it's banter. You'll probably know my overall opinion isn't really being serious when I'm having a little bit of banter with someone. This opinion, however, this is one that I had to call out. And again, when I call out an opinion, I'm disagreeing with the opinion. So if Josh watches this, just know, mate, I like your stuff. If you don't like the fact I'm calling out this tweet specifically, I'm more than happy to have you on the channel. Don't have to show your face. If you just want your voice to be heard, then great. But I thought this was a very, very dumb tweet from an account that I really enjoyed. A very dumb tweet. So I also made a response to this tweet. Now, I don't get the interaction that this dude does. I'm a little man on Twitter compared to this dude. So I just want to show you my response. You've read the tweet. I'm going to read it out as well. But I'm going to show you my response to said tweet, because I made a response to this tweet, and that's something that's important. So I'll read the tweet first. FSG were prepared to go for Caicedo at £110 million and Lavia at £60 million. Jurgen Klopp begged them to sign Wataru Enzo for £15 million at 30 years old, or 30 years of age. If we don't sign a number 6, the blame shouldn't be directed at FSG. So what he's saying there, now, I don't know how true this claim is. I don't know how true the claim is that Jurgen Klopp begged them to sign Wataru Enzo. It wouldn't surprise me, because I do think Klopp massively wanted a utility man, which is the reason why he wanted to keep James Milner. Okay? And I do think there's a possibility he might have really wanted Enzo Wataru as well. Okay? So what I now want to do is show you my tweet, my response, my quote tweet to this. So I simply said, well, this is a dumb tweet, straight to the point. And then I'll say, let's agree with the hypothetical world that Jurgen Klopp begged for Enzo and nobody else. So I'm trying to agree with this hypothesis that Jurgen Klopp is the one who begged for this move and he didn't want anybody else, and this, that, and the other. Who employed Klopp? Which is important. You mentioned two things there that went for FSG, which was the Caicedo 110 million bid and the Lavia 60 million bid, both of which they never had personal terms agreed with either. So when Chelsea came swooping in for Lavia, that's an FSG incompetence. And then when FSG swoop in for Caicedo and don't get the bid done because they never had personal terms agreed, that's an FSG problem. Oh, no, it's a Škamadka problem. Oh, no, it's a CEO problem, because Škamadka and the CEO were the ones negotiating those deals. Okay, then fine, let's say it's a Škamadka and a CEO problem. Who's the one who decided and agreed to bring in Škamadka for a 3-month deal? It was FSG. Who's the one paying Škamadka's wages? It's FSG. What's also important for dumb tweets and dumb words like this is who employs the CEO. Because when you talk about FSG, it's not just it's not just John W. Henry. It is John W. Henry and everybody else a part of that board. So don't just think I'm talking to John W. Henry when it comes to talking about FSG. I'm also talking about the chief execs. I'm also talking about Škamadka, as that's important, as they are a part of FSG as a thing. So I'll start that sentence again. Who employed Klopp? Therefore, poor recruitment in scouting and coaching areas is still an FSG fuck up. If Klopp is shit, so if we're going to agree with the hypotheses, Klopp is a bad decision maker. So if he's shit, well then FSG are shit decision makers for allowing him to be a decision maker, even though there's very little substance to support the claim. That's the first thing. And what I don't like, and I also did a follow-up tweet on this, and again, nowhere near the interaction. All this Josh dude needs to do is quote tweet my shit, and I will be fucked. His minions will probably attack me on Twitter. But then I followed it up and I said, although there isn't much to support this tweet in the first place, the stupid part comes with the defense of FSG at the end. So I don't mind you blame Klopp for transfers and whatever. I don't agree with it. I don't think there's much substance to support your claim, but let's say you want to go with that. My part comes with the defense of FSG at the end. How long will the fans keep blindly defending the ownership? Because just chat, I want you to see the hypocrisy in the tweet and let me know in the comments, am I overreacting? Have I seen this wrong? But it literally says in the final sentence, if we don't sign a number 6, the blame shouldn't be directed at FSG, which means Caicedo, who's a number 6, wasn't FSG's fault, even though they effed up the negotiations. And it also means Lavia, who Jurgen Klopp and Lavia had a pretty good relationship from the sounds of things. In fact, it seems like the conversations between Klopp and Lavia had Lavia wanting to join the club. And I highly doubt it was Jurgen Klopp who sat there and said, let's play chess by bidding 110 million for Caicedo, even though we don't actually want him. Let's bid at 60 million for Lavia, even though we don't actually want him. And let's go and get Enzo Wataru. That's the solution. The same way that last season, he was like, I don't want midfielders. 2 weeks later, he signs Arthur Melo on loan. So was it Jurgen Klopp who banged on FSG door saying, I really want Arthur Melo now. I've woke up, I've slept on it. Arthur Melo is the one to win us a league title. Did Jurgen Klopp say this? Because if he has this level of control, and if Arturo Enzo is a player he begged for, and that's why we never got Caicedo or Lavia, which, to be fair, isn't what Josh is saying. He's saying FSG were prepared to go for Caicedo and Lavia. So was prepared. However, they didn't get them because of poor negotiations, correct? And also, that's now you assuming that Wataru Enzo is a replacement directly and is coming right into the first team as a CDM. Which, to be fair, I've seen Klopp do weirder things, but it weren't the initial target. The initial target was Lavia. And then it weren't the second target because the second target was Caicedo. So it's very disingenuous to say the blame shouldn't be directed at FSG when it weren't Klopp who unsuccessfully never got those deals done. It was FSG. Or it was Gramatica. Fine. It was the people that FSG employed. It was the CEO. Fine. That is also a person who is employed by FSG. So we've got a couple of problems there. You see what I'm saying, chat? And this is why I like to call out dumb tweets, because that was a dumb tweet at the highest degree. Now, there's more context to it, and I want to give Josh the fair play of context because I'm not a guy who likes to just look at one tweet and say this, that, and the other. But it does seem that he's given FSG a bit of blind offensive outlook, a bit of a blind offensive outlook there, which I'll be honest, I just don't necessarily agree with. I don't think it's smart to just blindly defend him in that way. Right, let me try and find the rest of the tweets that I'm trying to look for here, because there was also something else. But chat, I'd really love to know your input on this. Am I just being a little bit overreactive? Am I just someone who's being a bit too defensive for Klopp? Because I'm also agreeing with the hypotheses that if what he says is true, okay? So if what he says is true, if Klopp begged for Enzo, that's obviously not good. And let's say Enzo is the number one guy, and that's not true as well. Well, think about it, chat. If that all remains to be true, who employs Jurgen Klopp? That's still important. So I also just want to share, let me get the screen back to the screen that I like, which is this one. So I also want to show you the follow-up tweets. If Jurgen Klopp wanted to Corey, it's pretty obvious FSG would sanction it and get the deal done. Well, they never got the Caicedo deal done. Oh, by the way, they also never got the Lavia deal done. And what if Jurgen Klopp, let's say we agree with this, that he doesn't want to Corey. Maybe you want to Corey, and maybe the journalists have linked us with Corey, and maybe even certain people in the club like Corey. Maybe Jurgen doesn't. Maybe Jurgen doesn't see it being productive in wasting 60 or 70 or 80 million of his transfer budget to go out and get a player that if it doesn't work out, then you're not going to be able to replace the player for X amount of years. That's why he wanted to keep James Milner, because he probably knew I have a track record of when a player leaves, they don't get replaced. And if they don't get replaced, well, now I'm fucked. And that's probably why he wanted Wataru Enzo, someone who's a bit more versatile, adds the energy in the midfield, and can give you, or at least can do a job in a couple of positions. So he's also saying if Klopp wanted to Corey, it's pretty obvious that FSG would sanction it and get the deal done. Also a dumb tweet. There's many targets that Jurgen Klopp has wanted and FSG have not got done. So there's the blind faith that you have there. The fact you're so... I think this is interesting, Josh. If you are so confident that Liverpool would go out and get to Corey, that's interesting to me. Because now I'm thinking, where was Tuchemani? Where was Jude Bellingham? Where was Caicedo? And where was Lavia? Where was Mbappe? Because FSG, based on the confidence here, it seems that FSG can get deals done. But why didn't we get those players? I'm just a little bit confused. Maybe I'm missing something in the tweet. FSG aren't blameless. So, fair play. He's not saying FSG are the ones blamelessly in this, that, and the other by any stretch. They've done a lot bad. So he's also acknowledging the bad they've done. If true, so now he's making a claim that Jurgen Klopp begged to sign Wataru Endo, like as if it's fact. And now he's saying, if true, this just proves that that they aren't 100% responsible either. That's all. Well, it seems like you're easing a lot of that responsibility off them by, defending one of their employees. That's all I'm saying, Josh. What's happened here is that these two are contradictory tweets. And that's fine, sir, because you're not a lawyer. You're a football and Twitter person. The same way I'm a football and YouTuber. It's not that serious. What it is, though, is a bit of a dumb contradictory tweet. And that's the only reason why I'm calling it out. Jurgen Klopp has stated himself that he had to convince FSG to sanction the move for Endo due to his age. So, yeah, one thing we've just learned from all the merchants who say Jurgen Klopp has got 100% control is that he doesn't have 100% control because he literally, according to this tweet, if we're going to agree with the hypotheses, he literally had to beg for a player from Stuttgart. So he couldn't get Caicedo, he couldn't get Lavia, and now you're telling me he struggles to get a fucking player from Stuttgart. So not only did the club not listen to him about extending James Milner, not only did the club sell Fabinho and Henderson where Jurgen might have not wanted Henderson to be sold, but now he had to beg for Endo. So I'm not trying to say this to say they were the right decisions. I'm not saying we should have kept James Milner, Fabinho and Henderson. I'm not saying that. But the merchants who come out and say Klopp is the one who's making these decisions and the majority of these decisions are dumb fucks. Because this clearly disproves it, as well as many other examples. Accountability should be shared around if needed. So again, you're using the word if. And that was pretty much the flow of tweets that Josh put out earlier this morning, which I thought was very interesting. And I had to talk about that. I thought that Josh, a great account, keeps me up to date. Genuinely hope he doesn't block me because that's how I find out a lot of my news, right? Seems like a cool dude. Sure, we could have a productive conversation. But that was a dumb tweet. The same way if I made a dumb tweet, I'd appreciate it. If Josh shared the tweet and said, this is a dumb tweet. I like people who've got the balls enough to do that, right? And I'm not certainly hating on Josh. You've noticed I've not said anything personal or anything like this. But that point was stupid. So I called out his stupid points. Chat, let me know if you agree. Has James just missed the mark here? Is James just being a little bit too harsh? Is James just trying to get content? I think it's important that when you see big influencers like this, directly defending FSG and not blaming Klopp and not putting enough blame on FSG, that's a problem for me. So I even tried to agree with his logic. And when you use his logic, it still goes against FSG. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, chat, smash a like, subscribe, and all that juicy stuff. We will be keeping you up to date with the Gravenberch and Decore news throughout. I don't think there's any mad updates to even give you at the moment regarding those two, to be honest. I'm going to have a little quick look on my phone for you guys because, I am going to do my due diligence and give you the updates if necessary. Yes, no updates, but we will stay on Joe course. Anyway, guys, smash a like, subscribe, and I will see you beautiful people in another life. Peace out.